like the Bronx, like from Longfellow, man, the poorest neighborhood in the fucking Bronx. And Bronx was pretty beat up back then. Like it looked like London in World War II aftermath, you know. And gang fights, you know, gangs over here, gangs over there, you know, like. Meanwhile, at home, you know, you're watching like Saturday Night Kung Fu, or I stayed at home and watched the cartoons and drew what I saw. You know, I had an uncle who was an artist, so you know, he'll tell me, "Oh, look at the greats, look at the masters." You know, talking about Michelangelo, I would have a book. Dude, I worked for a book publishing company, and I would find like little gems of like college books, like volumes of like different, the history of art and shit like that. And I would like take these fucking books. I'd be like, nah, fuck that. I'm taking this shit home. The Chelsea was cool for that, man. Real bohemian, real like laid back, artsy. It was just a funny style, man. But it was poetic, man. It was really nice. One time I go to the lobby and I'm like looking around and I'm like, oh man, it's like this painting of a horse, man. It just took me. That was my like sanctuary, man, for a couple of years.
You might want to put it a little to the right.
That was the place for me to go and, you know, like just explore, man. And that was like my first art school because I started like looking at all these styles and how they did it, how they applied it. Some people painted with just the paint coming out the tube on the canvas, some with brushes. It was, oh, you could do shit like that, you know, like, oh, you could do things like that with that. Okay, so, you know, you start experimenting, you know. Then at the Chelsea Hotel, some dude saw a painting that I did that I was showing to my friend who used to work with me at the downstairs lounge, and he was like, oh, that's so cool. And whatever, this dude from his balcony noticed it, and he was like, you know, he wanted to purchase it. So I was like, oh wow, man, that's what's up. And he offered me a check to the Art Student League of New York or money for me, just for my pockets. And I said, you know what, make it to the school. But it becomes a life. It becomes a life. It's like, you know, the tattooing and the art, how it's worked out for me in life, like same thing as a kid, you know, growing up. You take this thing you're good at, you keep doing it, to the point where it's like, oh shit, you find out, you see, there's some kind of demand for it. The best time to be a real good artist is when you're a kid, when your mind sponges up everything, man. That's you know, had I knew that then, oh man, you know. When you as a person, you're not stuck to a certain way of being. When you have that open mind and you can think, this is the time to be like that, you know, when you're a kid. You see something beautiful grow in the streets, cement jungle, man. It's something that, you know, if you have your own niche, you'll stand out, you know, you'll connect, people will connect. There was a time where I was out here, you know, doing my guerrilla art, you know, and led me to the New York Times, you know, and people connected, man, with your work. The photographer, Angel Franco, you know, he'll find people and just interesting people and just hear them out, you know, like people like me, artists in New York, you know. One time I had a stencil cut out of Christ and I held it up on the sun and basically the sun just beamed through the stencil cuts and it was pretty like, with his black and white photography, it really looked nice, man. Full surprise photographer, man, you know, so yeah, that was a cool experience, man. Because for one day, you know, the whole world read my name on the paper. Depends on the situation. One time I was in Union Square all night, man, because I didn't want to drag all my 12 big-ass paintings back home, or, you know, and I'll have to hump that shit all the way through the subway, through the streets. Sometimes you want to break all that down, you know, at one night. You know, I just, oh man, I'm tired. Maybe he was fucked up one night, didn't know how to get home, so he stayed at the park. It all depends, you know, I mean. it was a time where I was going through a rough period. You know, my mom passed away, and all my collections, all my paintings were just, I like threw everything up in the air, man. I just went kind of like, I lost it, you know. I didn't look at painting. I didn't want to paint. You know, it reminded me of my mom who passed away, and all that time, all that, you know, coming up with it, you know, it had a deep connection with her, you know. So it was very hard for me to pick up a brush and paint, you know. But I was always a fan. I was always like, oh man, you know, seeing other people do it, oh, that's awesome, you know. Like, you know, I wish I would have thought of that, or took something from, you know, an idea. So, you know, and hanging around people like that, you know, kind of helped me heal too. You know, I just now started painting again, you know, which is, I'm pretty happy about that because it feels like life is a full circle, you know. Who knows, man? Some people like started, you know, some of the best boxers started when they were 35, you know, but it's time, you know. I think, and you know, with enough time, you know, of healing, you know, you kind of like, okay, hanging out with, you know, friends, Elo, Martha Alicia, you know, these are other artists that, you know, are making an impact. And seeing their work, you know, it's like, all right, you know, let's get back on this, you know. They're having fun. I want to have fun too, you know.